We started organically getting clients, and we weren't even advertising. This was just through word of mouth, through people who knew that I had started something to help my dad. And I thought, wow, this need is apparent. This need is growing. And ultimately, what started out as a company to provide protection for my dad became, people in our community really need this service. And by the time my dad passed away, we were already servicing a handful of clients. We already had a handful of caregivers, and we thought, we don't want to just leave them all in the lurches. If we dissolve the company, then what's going to happen to all of them? And we had also gotten feedback from caregivers who'd worked for lots of different agencies that said, I wish more companies did things like you guys do. And now this is long past the piece of paper and clipboard that we had, because over time, as we started helping other people, we learned very quickly, like, okay, we've got to do something. So we evolved from the clipboard to a binder with 3 carbon copy handwritten sheets. And then from that, it was like, okay, everything needs to go electronic, because we need to be able to have eyes on it sooner. We don't want a case manager to be driving around to have to collect all these pieces of paper, and then a piece of paper goes missing and you're trying to file it and the files are getting really thick, and then you need to buy extra filing cabinets. And so we decided to go digital. We created a lot of systems. We changed things. I remember I had a manager work for us once, and it was she and another manager were kind of at odds with each other. One of them was constantly coming up with ideas, and what about this? And what about this? And we would talk through why or why not, or, maybe that's a good idea. How can we implement it? Or I hear what you're saying, but, and we had a lot of those types of discussions. And we had this one manager who was like, why change anything? It's working. We should just stay the same. And why are we changing things? But when you're at the very beginning, especially, change is just kind of part of the evolution of business, right? So Blockbuster wasn't willing to change. I remember when Netflix first came out, I used to get DVDs in the mail from Netflix. And when I was done, I would send them back. And I had a catalog, and I would circle which movies I wanted to rent. And then I would send that off, and then Netflix would mail me DVDs. And when I was done watching them, I would mail them back, and then I would get more. And I had this subscription to get DVDs in the mail. And when streaming started becoming a thing, Netflix really took off, and all the Blockbusters closed. Blockbuster is not a thing anymore because they weren't willing to change. So companies who are stuck in, this is how we do things and this is how we have to do things, and they're not willing to evolve and change and look at the market and say, what's needed? Where can we be better? How can we do this better? They just get left behind. And it doesn't matter how big they are. That's just what happens. The same thing happened to certain box stores who didn't embrace the online shopping. You have Target and Walmart are still around. Why? Because the only reason they weren't wiped out entirely by Amazon was because Walmart and Target both developed their own online shopping platforms. You don't have to go into Walmart or Target to buy their products. You can have toilet paper and paper towels shipped to your door, So I think that's really important. And I don't think that any industry is immune to it. I think that it's different for each of us depending on what your services are, but you have to have an adaptability. And you have to have an open mind when it comes to what is coming down the pipeline, what is coming next, what is that next trend for us that we can tweak and change and move course and still be us, but be us in a better way, right? And so anytime that there is an opportunity for growth through change or through something better through change, I'm always open to listening to that. And so I sat this manager down and I told her, I hear what you're saying, and I know you're frustrated, but there's only one thing that I can promise you won't change. And she kind of smugly looked at me and was like, okay, let's hear it. Like, what's What's not going to change? Because we've been changing a lot lately. And I looked at her with as much patience as I can muster. And I just said, the only thing that's not going to change is our willingness to change if the change is better. And I wasn't trying to be rude or mean. It's just matter of fact. You have to be able to evolve and change. And that's just going to be a constant.